Hey, it's Soleil, and this is episode 132 of the Orange Pill Investor. And today I want to talk about small accounts. And I'm not going to say some bullshit like anything you can do in a big account, you can do in a small account. Uh, that's not even true in jiu-jitsu. They try to say the purpose of jiu-jitsu, some people say this, is to let a smaller person defeat a larger opponent. And that's just not really even true. They still have weight classes in martial arts competitions for a reason, and unfortunately, size really does matter. So it's not just that MicroStrategy is out of reach for someone with a small account, because you can actually buy fractional shares. And in this small account, I'm trying to do, and this is why I want to talk about it, but this is why I want to talk about small accounts finally, is I was really excited to do a 5K challenge. And I'm going to call any account under 25K a small account. And if you're sitting at like 20 and you're like, bro, I don't have a small account, well, the regulators think you do, because as far as I know, I haven't checked, but the last time I checked, you had to have 25K in order to be a day trader. So I decided to have a 5K challenge, so I put $5,000 in this account, and I was going to try to see how long I could get it. It would take me to get it to a 25K account. And it immediately shit the bed. So, I mean, within like, maybe go back a year. I think I went somewhere like right here. It was like $5,000. I had started trading this in March. And it immediately went to $4,000, and then it was like $3,000, and it's just been kind of, you know, just struggling to gain some traction. And so I don't want to make it sound like this is how I hoped it would go. I mean, it would have been nice if it just went to 25K the next day on some amazing news or something. But it's almost kind of better that it did happen this way, because it kind of just doesn't matter. I bought these mining stocks at when Bitcoin was hitting all-time highs, and so Bitcoin retraced down to 60, 62-ish, or whatever the hell it was, and so it took the mining stocks down with them. And so it kind of simulated what you could do, or not necessarily should do, but what I do when I have a drawdown. I just keep selling calls business as usual. I will even sell them below my cost basis, which some folks will never do. I did actually get very close to a margin call, so I actually rolled out one of these bad boys to 45 days, which I don't hate, but I just prefer weeklies. So it was pretty annoying. But where was it? I think maybe it was like right around in here, like 5K, and then it was like, crap, 4K, and then here it was like, yeah, did it go below 3? Wow. Okay. So I mean, I always go over this. I believe I show these when I roll every Friday. So but it is more exciting to talk about it when it's finally plus. And so the good news is you got to get in somewhere. And if you buy something and it immediately shits the bed, you're not dead in the water. So if you, let's see, let's check Riot. What was Riot in March? So Riot was like 12. Yeah, I think Riot, my average cost is 12. So, Riot was doing some things, and then it was like, oh crap, it went down to 8, and then pumped back up here to 11. And I did sell some calls here, I think probably under my cost basis, and I probably had to pay to roll them. But like I said, it really just doesn't matter. It averages out over time. And so I'm still optimistic I can 5x this account to 25K in like, I think it was like 4 years or something. So but the hilarious part is, and I'm doing this just for, educational purposes to an extent, but it is kind of fun to do this. And but the funny thing about it is, if I just took 5 grand and slammed it into MicroStrategy and just bought what, like 3 shares or something, I could probably 5x this account by next year. So when MicroStrategy itself is, 5, 6, 7, 10K ish by end of 2025, but that's not really learning anything. That's just figuring out that something's going to, or hoping that something is going to go up. Now, I have a lot of confidence that Bitcoin is going to go up, which means MicroStrategy is going to go up, but it's not a 100% chance. So, and that doesn't teach anybody anything. So the whole point of this is just I'm demonstrating the covered call strategy, and in this case, I am using MicroStrategy as a bit of a shortcut, though. So as I sell for premium, let me see. Yeah, so if I look at all my notifications, this will probably be the easiest way to do it. So I bought $50 worth of MicroStrategy in fractional shares on the 17th. And I think that was maybe because I had to pay to roll, so I didn't do the whole amount. So on the 17th, I collected $56 here. On this one, oh, I had to pay. Oh, I got paid 14 here, but I might have to pay to roll. I can't remember. Got paid 48 here. So yeah, I think because I probably ended up having to pay to roll a couple of these, I decided to only put my profits into MicroStrategy. But this is what I've been doing. Every week, I've been making fractional purchases. So last week, I purchased $50 worth of MicroStrategy. Week before, 100. Week before that, 140. And so what I normally do, and I've talked about it in probably almost every single video I've made, is if I collect 1% in Riot or Hut or Mara, whatever the case may be, then I'll buy 1 share of a stock. Or, I mean, you don't have to buy 1 share of Riot, 1 share of Hut, 1 share of Mara. And if you want to get to critical mass, meaning you get to a point where you have like 10,000 shares of something, or you're at least collecting premium that you can buy 100 shares of something, you're going to want to do it in the cheapest stock. So in that case, I would probably want to buy shares in Hut since it's the cheapest of what I'm trading. And so MicroStrategy's pumped finally. I'm actually, my average cost for MicroStrategy, a dollar cost averaged it down to like $14.32 because I think I started buying it at like $1,800 or something ridiculous. And so I'm finally like up 10%-ish on this. Total return, yeah, up 17%. So now that this is pumped a little bit, I may sell $1 grand worth and then buy 100 shares of Hut with it. Let's see, because Hut, actually I would have done better with Hut because Hut is actually up 26% since I bought it. But in general, I'm using MicroStrategy as a store of value because my assumption is that since it's leveraged Bitcoin, when Bitcoin pumps, MicroStrategy is going to pump even harder. And I'm also liking the fact that my margin is just about the same. I'm using still about $3 grand worth of margin. So I may just take it easy with the margin because this can all just crash 10, 20 grand. No, sorry. If Bitcoin can still crash 10, 20 grand in a day. So this margin could evaporate. But I'm glad to be up finally, a little over 10%. And I was never really panicking. It's just kind of annoying. But it is kind of cool that I was able to demonstrate that you just stick with the plan. The down plan is the same as the up plan. However, in a large account, if you are, and I think someone was mentioning IREN recently. So I'm not recommending anything ever, but I'm definitely not necessarily recommending buying IREN at, it's not 52-week highs. It was at almost 10 before. But if Bitcoin triples by next year, could Irish triple? Maybe not necessarily. But let's just say this pumps another $10 or something, or gets to $15 a share, end of 2025. This looks to be like the cheapest, one of the cheaper tradable stocks. So if you sold a covered call at $8, let's see, 10% would be 76. It's not quite 10% call away. You could sell the 8.5, and this is already Tuesday, so it's only 3 days. But you could get 1% at the 8.5, which is like, what is that, 86 cents? So a little over 10% call away value. So this is pretty tradable. I still wouldn't bother because it looks like these are still increments of a nickel. See the bid-ask spread? There's bids for 10 cents and there's asks for 15. That means you're gonna, you think you're gonna get 13, but you're really gonna have to come down to 10 to get a fill. So that really pisses me off, and that's why I stopped trading CLSK. I have no qualms whatsoever with CLSK's fundamentals. They're probably gonna pump. They're just as good of a miner as any of the other miners as far as probably risk reward and premium and all of that jazz. But I cannot stand, especially when I'm only collecting 10 to 15 bucks, that swing from having to go from 15 all the way to 10 is freaking huge. So if you're barely, if you can barely scrape enough money together to be able to afford 100 shares of IREN, these little pennies are really important. So I probably wouldn't just say for Riot or Hut. But if you want to get to critical mass as soon as possible, you could do it in IREN. So whatever you're trading, you could still just buy 100 shares of IREN. Well, you could buy the fractional shares of MicroStrategy, and then once you had $764 worth of MicroStrategy, then you could sell it and buy this. Now, is that triggering too many capital gains tax stuff? Don't know. I don't really think about taxes too much until it's time to pay my taxes. So if y'all can optimize your taxes better by doing something different, good on you, but I don't really worry about whether making a profitable trade has tax implications too much. Other than I do try to not let my shares get called away so I don't have to buy them back, and then it probably resets my 1 year period. I'll just pay to roll so I don't get my shares taken. And that's why I don't really run the wheel anymore. I don't really know if it helps my taxes or not, but it might even just be superstition. But for me, I think saving at least $2,000 probably makes more sense. And you can just start, with 2,500. You start with Mara. Shell out the $2,000 to 2,200 bucks, and then get $300 worth of MicroStrategy. And then every week when you're selling, $50 a pop, then you can buy five shares of Hut or 8 shares of IREN, whatever. Oh, sorry, no, you're buying the fractional shares of MicroStrategy, and then once you've got enough money to buy 100 shares of IREN, then you can do that, or 100 shares of Hut or Riot, then you could do that. But eventually the point is to get to a large enough account where you can collect enough money every week to buy 100 shares, and then you're getting exponential growth at that point if you're reinvesting all of your profits. So I trade Riot, Hut, and Mara. But if I was really just pinching pennies, I guess I could go Iron. But I don't know. It's only $300 cheaper than Riot, and I don't have to deal with that bid-ask spread. It's only $200 cheaper than Hut, and Hut lets you trade. See, bids are 14 cents, asks are 17. I much prefer this, but Iron's an option, and especially if you are going out to 45 days. I can only go 38 or 59, but let's just go 38. If you're going out here and you're going up and collecting 50 cents, that's not as bad. Like if I have to go, well, the bid-ask spread kind of sucks too. There's like 20 cents between this bid-ask spread. It's even worse at 12. So this is Hut. But I thought I went to Iron. All right, so if I go out 38 days, I could collect 60 cents at 9. Okay, bid-ask spread is not terrible, 10 cents. So you could probably get a fill at 60. This is the good part. So when you're dealing nickel increments and you have to go in between 10 and 15, you have to go all the way to 10, so you get screwed out of a nickel, which is 2/3 of the premium. But if you have to go from 65 to 60 for the mid price, if you can get a fill there, that's just normal. Now, if it was the bid was 60 and the ask was 65 and you have to go to 60 and you lose a nickel here, you're not losing 2/3, you're only losing 5 out of 60. So what is that? 1/12. So you're maybe losing 10% instead of 33% because of the bid-ask spread trading in nickels. So maybe that's another alternative. If literally the only thing I could scrape together was $764 for 100 shares of Iron, then maybe I would just go out to 45-ish days, sell a 0.3-ish delta. Yeah. And make this nickel increments much less painful to trade. Guess I could have done this with CLFK as well, but I prefer the weeklies, so I had options, so I didn't bother. All right, I think I will leave it there for now. I'm psyched that the small account challenge is finally no longer shitting the bed, showing a little bit of profit here, and kind of demonstrating that when you have drawdowns, it doesn't mean you have to panic. It's just business as usual. If your base assumptions is that these assets that you're trading are still valuable, if your fundamental assumptions has not changed and you think the stock's going up, then no panicking, and you just keep selling mechanically. You can try to sell above your cost basis if you want. You can go out from weeklies to 45 days expiration to stay above your cost basis if you want. But it's whatever you do, you don't have to just bag hold. Well, I don't bag hold. I never bag hold. So the down plan is the same as the up plan, and I'm grateful that I'm actually able to operate the up plan for a change, for the first time since March. All right. Be good, y'all.